enthusiastic learner of machine learning algorithm and his application over computer networks. He is a recognized supervisor of Anna University, holding 2 scholars who has completed their YOOC, 4 have completed their thesis, submitted their thesis, and 4 other people are still pursuing under his supervision. Also, is serving as a doctoral committee member for Anna University as well as VIT, SRM, and Satyabama University. Also, he is serving as a member of the Board of Studies in SRM Alumni Engineering College and Wales University, Chennai. So, he is a recognized protocol of CompTIA, that is Global Certification Agency Examination. He is actively involved in industrial consultancy projects, namely HCL, TechB, Blue Lotus Technologies, and Redington CSR. He is a member of professional activities such as ACM, He is also acting as a faculty coordinator for online internship of SSN students at Carnegie Mellon University, USA. Also, he has published 25 articles in indexed publications such as CSI, that is Scopus Science Citation Index, and Scopus, and other 25 articles are published in reported international conferences. He is holding his H index of count 10 and also the citation count of 334, that is 334. So we once again we cordially welcome our resource people, Dr. N. Balaji sir. And also I welcome all the participants for the afternoon session. So let us wait for his presentation to have. So hand over to the FDP team. Also, the session can be taken over to the Dr. N. Balaji sir, you can take up the call, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir. One thing I didn't mention in my profile is I'm an alumnus of Mahindra Engineering College, and I've moved with Dr. Prasanna as a faculty also. I was there for quite short time. I was working there. I started my career there.
Yes,
so, yes. So today I was, it was really different when he was calling me as Balaji sir, actually. So we used to call by names. So thank you, Prasanna, for your warm welcome. And shall I start the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Is it visible, sir?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. Good afternoon, my dear friends. So today you are venturing into another ATAL sponsored program in IoT.
Balaji, 1 minute. Sorry for the disturbance. Balaji, the presentation view is not there.
1 minute, sir.
Okay. Slide view.
Yeah, 1 minute. Now, sir?
No, Balaji.
Okay.
I think you are selected. Yeah.
No, the problem is Google Meet konja naalave enakku idhe problem sir.
Yeah.
I'll start sharing PDF version.
Okay.
1 minute, sir. Sir, now, sir.
1 minute sharing. Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
No.
Travis Agda, sir.
No problem. No, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, okay.
It's good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, demystifying Internet of Things. Actually, the title I gave the title as Internet of Things in a beginner's level exposure. I'm going to talk about the objective is I'll be giving you a brief introduction about IoT. What is that? Why we require that? And how it is being making an impact in our life. And I'll be touching upon the preliminary informations and basic exposure to IoT hardware and peripherals, IoT software. What are the, as you all know, any technology will evolve by using hardware and software. when we specifically talk about the software, what are the tools which could be employed for exploring IoT? And similarly, when we talk about hardware, you all know it's more of a hardware oriented technology. What are the hardware devices which are available in the market which we could leverage for implementing IoT solutions? That is going to be my talk. The world is changing. I hope you all will agree with me that the entire world is changing. We are in the era where everything is getting changed. The pictures what I have posted here are very ideal example of how they have changed rapidly. You can see vehicles. Now they say that the real challenge or the real competitors for vehicle manufacturers like Ford, Ford, Volkswagen or Benz will be in near future or in near 2 or 3 years down the line. They will have competitions or they will get the competitors in the form of Google, Samsung, Motorola, and so on. Now you can understand the real scenario, like everything is getting automated, and we are in the era where we are talking about very seriously talking about driverless cars. So once those cars come up in the market, they will be giving a stiff competition to this traditional car or vehicle manufacturers. So that is the way in which it is changing. You know what way the hardware usage has changed. Still we are talking about quantum computing. If quantum computing becomes reality, whatever we are talking today may become useless. No, we will be altogether moving to a different arena. It is going to take us to a different world. So quantum computing is on the way. So hardware, otherwise also hardware, the mid 1990s memory capacity is what we are carrying in our mobile phone. I hope you all will agree with me. Right? So that is the capacity in which we are. The capacity is actually we have exceeded that capacity through our mobile phone itself. Healthcare, you can remind me at the last. I'll show you some slides what I have prepared for IoT in smart healthcare for a different program. I'll just go through that. You will be able to. Sometimes it may surprise you that there are a lot of devices which have emerged in the market of healthcare, particularly pertaining to IoT and analytics. And what are the other ways? You see, computers have completely changed. Renewable energy, space, mobile phones from the era what we see here and what we are using today is completely different. So the world is changing, and why I'm starting with this, we should also prepare ourselves for a change. Okay, that is the motto here. So let us all go along with the world which is rapidly changing. I have given the answer here. Are we using IoT? Any answers? Yeah, participants, you can unmute at any time and you can talk to me. I don't want this to be a typical monotonous session where I keep on talking. No, let's make it very interactive. So if you are there, please unmute and you can also interact with me. Are we using IoT?
I think they are using some.
Yes, you think they are using? Okay. So, okay, I take your answer. What's your good name, sir?
I'm Farooq, sir.
Okay, where are you from?
Hyderabad.
Hyderabad, good. Okay. So, I know most of us may be attending this session through mobile phone. So, that is the leverage what we have done or what we are capable of doing with mobile phones. Again, coming back to the crux. Are we using IoT? Yes. The answer is yes. In what way? If you are holding a smartphone above 5,000 rupees, ultimately you are into the world of IoT. How? Look closely at your mobile phone. It can recognize your voice. It can recognize your fingerprint. It can recognize your face. It knows where you are. It knows to whom are you talking. It knows whether are you holding it in a packet or are you holding it in your hand. And it knows whether it is a day or night. It knows what are the places you have visited in the recent time, what not. It knows everything about you. Actually speaking, it has your digital horoscope. It can say, what are you going to do tomorrow? Probably your mobile phone, if it traces the data, it will be successful enough to say, what will you purchase in the near future? So to that extent, This is an algorithm which Amazon has already worked, and they have come up with a beta version. What they are trying to do is they are working on an algorithm where, based on our search pattern within the Amazon as well as in the Google, they are trying to predict like what are the items which I will purchase in the near future. So these are all some ideas or some nuances which gives us the evidence that we are already into the world of IoT. Okay, a simple mobile phone is an ideal example of how IoT has penetrated into our day-to-day life. Yeah, here where there are some questions. 80s, computer and process optimization. If you look at the 1980s, I'm talking about the evolution of computers. Please, I caution you, I'm not talking about the history of computer. I'm talking about the evolution of IT sector or how the companies have sparred. Okay, when we start that, we have to start with the 80s. I know the programming languages came up earlier to that, but those time the computers were available within a room. You all know, you would have studied in the introduction of computers in the first year paper, where we used to say to our students that computers were occupying a space of kind of a mechanical workshop, and it took around 1 or 2 days to perform calculations and so on. I'm not talking about such kind of computers. I'm not talking about Charles Babbage computers. I'm talking about the real computers, what are the forefathers of computers, what we use today. So 80s were termed as a era of computer and process optimization. Could you say me what was the company which was dominating in the 1980s? Which company?
In chat window, they have posted IBM.
It's I.
Oh, okay. IBM. Okay. Thank you. IBM is the right answer actually. So 80s, IBM was the one which was dominating. And if you see IBM was the one who brought the PC personal computers, who were the pioneers in bringing the computers to the household people. And at the same time, HCL was also operating in India, but they were all doing, they exported all the items from Singapore and Malaysia, and they were doing it here. But globally, IBM was the leader who pioneered in this field, and they were the one who brought these computers into this area. Okay, 90s, when we say software and 90s, which company strikes your mind?
It's Microsoft, sir.
Yes, great. Microsoft. Because now this answer itself, you can find the gap. IBM was the pioneers in the computer, in the hardware, but they missed the ship by not focusing on the software side. Now IBM declared themselves as a very big software and analytics company, but in the 80s they thought that manufacturing the computers is enough for them to dominate the globe. No, but in 90s, this guy, like both Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, they came up. And again, particularly if I want to talk about 90s, Microsoft was the one which started dominating the entire world. And this guy was smart enough. He also started manufacturing PCs during that time. So they also did the same. And from there, in the same era, you know about the story of Apple, how Apple came and how they were also able to dominate the particularly West side. That's fine. So that was the lesson for IBM actually. And then when we talk about 2000, it's all about web and information retrieval. When we say web and information retrieval, what comes to your mind? Web, information retrieval. What are the companies which strikes your mind? I'm not able to see chat window. Just a minute.
It's Google.
Yes, Google. Very good. That was the era where emails were actually coming up. That was the era where web was prospering. We all were getting into web, and Google was the pioneer. Google understood that. So the entire world is going to be behind data. So they have a lot of things to search. So Google capitalized on it, and that's where Google came up with the search engine, and rest is the history. And that was the era where we also started personalizing the internet, like email and so on. I still remember my college days in the same Mahindra Engineering College, where we created our first email. That was kind of a laboratory exercise for us. Today, it may be, if I say it to my students, they will laugh. But seriously, we will be longing enough to sit in the system and create that email ID. I still remember we created in Rediff or Sifi. Okay. So that was the period where web and information retrieval was dominating the world. Then came mobile and app stores. Obviously, I need not to say who dominates this mobile and app stores. Who are they?
They posted to Google.
Google again, Play Store, and App Store by Apple. Am I right? Yes, very good. Okay, now the point, 2020s or after 2010. What are the company which is dominating the world right now? Who is the, if I want to give a hint, who is the richest person, top 3 richest person in the world? He owns that company. What name will you say?
They posted Tesla, Amazon, Elon Musk.
Yes, Elon Musk, Amazon, Jeff Bezos. Okay, so let's take the case study of Amazon. I think Sarah has come up with Amazon. I consider Amazon is a wonderful use case for 2020. I won't say literally 2020. It all started in the mid of 2010 itself, or between 2010 to 2020. What is the speciality about these companies? Amazon doesn't own a single warehouse. Amazon doesn't manufacture anything except for 1 or 2 electronic equipments. Amazon doesn't have any manufacturing unit, but Amazon is dominating the entire business market. How? They did not even find internet. Internet is not find. It's not their discovery or invention. So what they did was, by leveraging or by using the internet, they connected the people along with the vendor or the manufacturer. That's it. They acted as a integrating catalyst. We call them as a kind of a middleman. They acted merely as a middleman, and they are able to become a pioneer today. That is the creativity at its peak. That is why is special about Amazon. The same model you can also apply it for Uber or Ola. Ola doesn't own even a single taxi in the world, but today they dominate this rental vehicle market by merely using the GPS by Google and internet by someone. So they are able to use these technologies, and they are able to prosper. They are able to make a business $1 billion out of it. That is what highest level creativity is all about. Tomorrow, Elon Musk may be coming up with a private shuttle vehicle for space and so on. I'm leaving it open, but this is what I'm seeing it as a creativity at its peak. Without owning anything, you can become a rich person. No? That is the lesson which Amazon or Ola or Uber has taught us. So these are all the things. Why again I talk about this? Please, my dear friends, IoT is on the way. It has already come, and it is poised to make change in our day-to-day life. You may be questioning me like, how will it impact an individual person? That we will see the answer. Initially, if I saw about Internet of People, it's basically Internet was for the people, by the people, and of the people. So it basically connects people. We all know how we get connected through internet. Even today, I'm giving this talk with the help of internet. It is a digital fabric which has woven into each and individual life of human beings. Today, we cannot imagine without using internet. And you all know, when you go to Facebook, all your entire family is there in the Facebook. When you go to Insta, all your friends, family, all of them are in the Insta. Wherever you go, now everyone is part of it. Earlier we used to say, see, before Facebook, there was an ancestor for that. We called it as a Orkut. Mostly, this generation people, probably you may know, Orkut was there, but one fine day it was all vanished, and Facebook took over that place. And today, you know what is Facebook is able to do. So Internet of People is meant for people. That is what we have been traditionally using and known. What is this Internet of Thing? We all know Internet of People is the medium through which people get connected. Similarly, there is another technology or another area which we call it as Internet of Things. From the name itself, you can understand it is nothing but integration or connection of many things. When I say things, it includes digital gadgets, physical gadgets, and so on. And technically speaking, IoT is a platform where we are trying to connect the physical world with the cyber world. I hope you can understand what is a physical world. When I say physical world, I mean your car is a physical world. Your refrigerator is a physical world. When I mean cyber world, I mean the routers, sensors, computers, and so on. We are trying to connect these two worlds by using this new technology, or I should not say new, it's a damn old technology in my view. So we are using this IoT as a integrator to connect both the digital space and the cyberspace. That is the beauty of this IoT. We will see what it is. Why should you care? Okay, let us all accept that IoT is a big factor or IoT is a wonderful technology. Okay, it's fine. Why should I care about it? How it is it going to make any impact in my life? That's what I said in the beginning itself. We will slowly see like how this is going to make an impact in each and individual life. Before that, why? It is the innate nature of human being. We want to receive more data. We want to automate. We want to make things faster. We want to control stuff. When I say we want to receive more data, you all know we live in the era of data. And even Jeff Bezos coined that data is going to be the next fuel. The country which possesses or which generates huge data will be the one which will be dominating the world. That is his prediction actually. We want to automate. Yes, it's a human nature, you know. I want to automate. If you ask me, I want to automate my teaching learning process. I want to automate the cleaning the house. I want to automate my driving. Yes, after all, we are all lazy fellows. We always like to automate, okay, in a lighter sense. So we want to automate. We want to make things faster. Do anyone say that you want everything to happen in a slower manner? No. It is again a human nature that we want everything to happen soon. I want to become rich. I mean, if you have followed Tamil movies, we quite commonly say Vikraman movie's song. In one song, the hero will become a super rich. So we want things to happen fast. You know, that is what our expectation is. We want to control stuff. We want to control stuff. What is that control stuff? Yes, the husband wants to control wife wants to control husband, mother wants to control kid wants to control mother, and so on. So that is what, again, a controlling stuff is also a human psychology. We love to control things, you know, as a human being, we love to control things. These are all the factors which actually makes us to go for a IoT. Not only IoT, if you see any technology, why these technologies prosper, there will be some reason behind like this. Okay, what is IoT? Again, you will be having a very complete session on IoT. Every speaker will give his perspective, will give his definitions on IoT. Yes, that's why I have posted this picture here. You know, this is a very common picture where 5 blind men are trying to realize how an elephant will look like. You know, from the picture, you know, the one who is holding the tail will say that the elephant will look like it will be more like a snake, or it will be more like a cylindrical in shape with some hair at the last. The one who holds the ear or the leg will say it will be cylindrical in shape, and so on. So the definition or what is IoT will differ from person to person. The term Internet of Things was first used by Kevin Aston. Kevin Aston is considered to be the father of IoT in 1999. Refers to uniquely identifiable objects. So there are other equivalent terms: Internet of Things, Web of Things, device to device, mobile to mobile, and so on. So a lot of equivalent terms are used, but commonly they came to a consensus that they will tag this as an Internet of Things. Okay, so IoT is a common term. There may be, see, and again, when I say device to device, when I say web of things, there are slight variations, but again, they all come under the family of IoT. Okay, that's how they come. So that is what IoT is all about. Definition of IoT, I'm not going to read all those definitions. I'm leaving it. I'll share the slides. You can go through it. There are a lot of definitions for IoT. So these are all some definitions. Okay, capabilities. What is we try to do in IoT? Before that, what are these capabilities? We people have these capabilities. We are able to hear, we are able to taste something, we are able to smell, we are able to touch and feel, we are able to see. These are all the capabilities of a human being. Do you agree with me? We all possess these capabilities by nature. Now imagine if we try to incorporate these capabilities into the devices, how will it look like? That is what IoT is all about. What we try to do, we expect the devices to see, we expect the devices to hear, we expect the devices to taste, we expect the devices to smell, we expect them to touch and feel. This is what we try to do. You may be questioning me like all these were tried in robotics. No, robotics were specific oriented. Now IoT is a bit different. We try to incorporate these capabilities into the devices so as to make both the device life and as well as our life better. That is what the motto of this IoT. How can you make a device to hear? Already I said mobile phone can hear, mobile phone can see, mobile phone can touch, it can sense your fingerprint, it can smell. Smell probably mobile phone cannot do. You have a odor sensor and other sensors. Touch, or taste. There is one particular restaurant in Japan where if you go, they will give you a tab kind of thing where you can type your recipe, or you can select your menu for any particular food item from the menu. You can taste this. You can taste it by licking the item which is available in the tab. It will give you the real sense. So you can decide how will that item will look like, or how that item will be tasting once you order that food item in the particular restaurant. This is already available. So even taste is actually somehow they have tried to incorporate into a device. This is what I was talking about. Just imagine, okay, sensing is fine. We know we can make the device, or we can make the things to sense. Sense, in sense, I mean whatever I said earlier. The sense includes hearing, seeing, tasting, smelling, and touch. What happens if the things are able to sense and communicate? For example, things can communicate among themselves, or things can also communicate to the owner. What happens if my TV says that, hi guy, today is the last date for you to renew your Tata Sky Premium? Or what, imagine if your sitting sofa or chair says that you seems to be overweighting today, please do have some walk. It may be funny, but these things are going to happen in near future. So that is what we are trying to do here. Ultimately, we are trying to incorporate sensing and communication. We are expecting the device or things to communicate also. IoT in reality, I said about mobile phone, I said we discussed what are the capabilities of the mobile phone. There are bracelets, Jawbone. This Jawbone can track how well you have slept in the previous night, what is the heartbeat rate, how was the quality of sleep. All such things can be recorded by this Jawbone, and if there seems to be any notable difference, it can also initiate automatic messaging to your physician or the doctor. That is also possible through Jawbone. The next one, Nest, is a thermistor. This thermistor is most prevalent in the West. You know, see, they fix this thermistor outside their house so as to monitor the temperature of the house. Once you monitor the temperature of the house, what happens is automatically you can fix what temperature of AC should run on a particular day. It may be either way. It could be AC in the summer and heater in the winter. So those things can be fixed depending on the data what we collect through this thermistor nest. These are all some more IoT reality. You can see that Philips has come up with the Hue lamp. Hue lamp will automatically change its color according to the mood of the people. That is what they claim actually. It can exhibit multiple colors. And the bottom one is dog collar. This dog collar, what you can do is you can tie this to your pet animal. When you take it for a walking, or when you allow it to go outside, still you will be able to track where it is, what it is doing, if it is taking any other intake, or how far it has gone from you. All such informations can be recorded and you can see it in your mobile phone. The bigger one is it's a kind of a garage opener. That is the how to say, the parking shed opener. Whenever your car arrives in the near proximity, it automatically senses it and it sees to that the door is automatically opened. The last one in the right extreme is weighing machine. This weighing machine, you all know, this is a typical weighing machine, but this weighing machine has some more capabilities. It records your data. It also communicates. For example, there are provisions in weighing machine where once you check your weight, it may be advertised or it may be propagated to your Twitter account or Facebook account. Again, it's a funny side, but still what happened? You want to make a statement among your society, right? You want to say that you are not becoming overweight. So to create that conscious, it can also do that. But ultimately what it can do is, if you have a nutrition or if you have a dietitian, it can send the data frequently to the dietitian so that he can automatically correct or rearrange your diet mechanism. All these things are possible and are available in the market. Okay, KuCars. Okay, you are talking about some weighing machine. You are talking about dog's collar. You may claim that I don't have a dog in my house. And you may also say that I don't park it in a closed garage. Okay, fine. It's all some examples. But KuCars, they care. Cisco, General Electricals, Samsung, IBM, Google, these are all the players who care. How do they care? This is an example. Internet of Everything. It was the term coined by Cisco. Under that, they have leveraged a lot of items. For your information, before 2 years itself, I saw a Cisco IoT router that was specifically designed for IoT operations. Still, it is in the beta testing. Hope it will be released due to pandemic, they have delayed it. Otherwise, it would have hit the market. Soon, you will find a router dedicatedly to handle IoT devices. When I say it's not so easy, there are a lot of delicacies involved in it. So I'll come to that later. Smarter Planet by IBM. IBM coined this as a Smarter Planet and they were working on it. And they have done a lot of things. They have also come up with Watson of things and so on. I'll show that those things. And Industrial Internet is by General Electricals. General Electrical, under the theme of Industrial Internet, they have launched a lot of things and they are working on it. You saw this Nest, right? This one, Nest. This thermistor Nest company was acquired by Google for around $3.12 billion. Samsung acquired a company called SmartThings for $200 million. Okay, so and Internet of European Things, they were established in the year 2014 and 15 itself. Most of the European countries have investigated how could they use IoT in different areas. How could IoT play a role in education? How IoT could play a role in healthcare? How IoT could play a role in smart city? All such case studies have been very elaborately discussed and shared among those European Union countries. There were huge funding for all those projects. Those are all available in the web. You can also refer. How big? Okay, Cisco is into it. IBM is into it. Google is into it. Is it really big? These are all some statistics. How big? 10 billion devices. So now, when I say now, this particular picture was taken or this was extracted during 2015 or 16. So during that time, there were 10 billion devices available across the world. And if you equate to an individual person, it comes around 1.5 devices per person. But today, year 2020, They have predicted that 50 billion devices are around the globe. There may be plus or minus, but what they claim is there are in an average 8 devices used by particular person. That is the total accumulation value what they project. So 8 devices per person. It's quite obvious. We use laptop, we use mobile phone, we use what else? One more mobile phone in a house itself. We all know we are all using a Wi-Fi router, and it's all being used by more than 8 devices. So what are the other predictions? It is poised to make automotive industry into the tune of $202 billion, healthcare $69 billion, utilities $36 billion, consumer electronics $445 billion, and so on. These are all the different numerical figures, financial figures, which IoT is expected to make a change. This is very big. That is what I've said already. Area of spending. You see in 15, the area of spending was IoT occupied around 32%, whereas high performance computing is 22, and energy saving was focused 16. Even now, after 5 years of journey, still IoT occupies 25 to 26% of the overall spending. Why for common man? This is the biggest question we need to answer. Okay, if you are expecting a better health, if you are expecting a better safety, if you are expecting a better comfort, if you are expecting a better convenience, and if you are expecting a better wisdom, that may be a odd one, but I'll give you a justification. Better health, I mean, just now we saw a bracelet can monitor your sleep quality. It can monitor whether you are suffering from any variations in your heartbeat. It can be informed to the physician. Safety, for example, imagine that you have installed a fire sensing sensors in your house. It could sense in case if there is a temperature rise abruptly in the house. Comfort, we are talking about driverless cars. That could be an ideal example of comfort. Convenience, what are the ways? See, we can use these technologies in making our household operations very easier. No, that is what convenience is all about. Wisdom, I spare it. I'll talk about wisdom in a later slides. Okay, I'll finish it off. Since how do we arrive at wisdom is we sense. Through sensing we collect data, and that data becomes information, and that information becomes a knowledge, and finally that leads us to wisdom. Can you think of an example how data becomes a wisdom? Can you think of an example? Any idea, like how data becomes a wisdom? How a normal data becomes a wisdom? Anybody in the field of data analytics, data science? Nobody? Okay, so if you are into research of data science or data analytics, then that is quite possible, right? You collect data, you predict things. When you are able to predict things, that is an ideal example where wisdom comes into picture. Okay, I'll give you some example. I'll show you this example. Swine flu or Google flu. What Google did was, you all know, before this pandemic hit us, the swine flu was the one which was worried, or which was considered to be a very big threat for developing countries. So Google did a small algorithm, small work. What they did was they collected the search data. The people who searched for Google flu, they noted down whenever someone searches for Google flu information, swine flu information, Google recorded those information, and from that they were able to predict which will be the next area which is expected to get affected. So by understanding this, what they did was they alerted the local government or the concerned authority so that they can have medicines in spare. As well, they can see to that they can take some remedial actions. The mitigation activities could be initiated in those areas so that the prevention can be controlled or prevention can be avoided. This is a wonderful example where a small data becoming a wisdom. You know, mere Google search is the data, so they are going to collect the data. From there, they collect those things. From that, they identify which place, from which place the higher number of hit is there. From there, they make it as a knowledge. From there, they convert that into a wisdom. This is a simple example where you can see data becoming a wisdom. Another example is, there is another example. So in a city in Japan, usual wake up time of people was 5 a.m. Okay, so in that city, people used to, in an average, wake up at 5 a.m. How this data was arrived? So what do we do once we wake up? Can anyone say me? What do we do immediately once we wake up? What is the immediate action? Practically. Don't say me theoretically. What is the practical answer? What will I look at once I wake up? Any answer?
Many of them posted message, WhatsApp.
Great, sir. WhatsApp. Thank you.
Message,
So the
checking
answer is mobile phone, right? So once we wake up, we go to mobile. See, most of us keep alarms in mobile phone, so we wake up only through mobile phone. So that case is, usually people used to log into the Twitter around 5 a.m. That is the data what they have collected. The Twitter data, from the Twitter data, they identified that the average wake up time of that city is 5 a.m. But on one sudden day, the average wake up time was recorded as 4 a.m. So this was something which was abnormal. See, few people may wake up early or late, that is different. But when the average time itself has been preponed to 1 hour, then the company, the Twitter data, the Twitter identified or sensed that there could be something wrong, and they informed the concerned authority. There was a tsunami attack in that city during that day. That's why people wake up early and they were cautioning their friends. Okay, so this is again an example where a normal data can be seen in the form of a wisdom. So why I'm saying all these things? One of the important feeder of data today is none other than our IoT. IoT feeds huge amount of data. But again, as I say always in my presentations, the niche technologies what we are talking today, say IoT or machine learning or data analytics or blockchain or cloud, all these technologies are dependent on other technologies so as to prosper. It is not like a 10-20 years back where a single technology can stand alone. No, I may have huge amount of data. What am I going to do with that data? So I have to apply some analytics, or I have to apply some algorithm. Okay, algorithm will give me some results. Where will I store the data? I need large storage. That's where cloud comes into picture. Okay, data is stored. Do I need, whether I need security for data or not? That's where blockchain or other mechanisms comes into picture. So these are all interlinked. You cannot see these technologies as independent technologies. They are all shaking hands together quite frequently. Okay. So IoT, for example, you collect huge amount of data from IoT. What are you going to do with that if you are not going to analyze the data? So here where the dependency is very much. The dependency is very high when we talk about these technologies. Where? Connected home. Connected home is a wonderful place where you can see the complete example of an IoT. How the connected home, what are the devices which could be place of a connected home? Smart lighting. As I said earlier, Philips have declared themselves as a IoT company. They are no more an electronic company. They have declared themselves as an IoT company. 2 years back, I visited their company campus R&D section. I was amazed to see that they have completely produced an IoT product for starting from birth to death of a human being. Almost they have covered 60% of our human system. For example, I'll say Philips have come up with a smart cradle. No, தொட்டில் இருக்கு இல்லையா, குழந்தை தொட்டில். So they have come up with a smart cradle which can sense the sleeping pattern of the baby. It can sense whether the baby is crying or laughing. It can also sense the movement, leg movement, hand movement of the baby. And in addition to that, they also have smart feeding bottle. They have smart toys, whatnot. I was amazed, they had they showed us the demo of all such things. So Philips is into it like that. Smart lighting depending on the outside temperature, or depending on our mood, or depending on the kind of program what we are watching in the TV, anything could be taken as an input and lighting can be changed or altered. Some more examples. Losing your keys will probably not be possible in the future because all our homes will be using smart lock. How to use smart lock? It's more like using the password. Once you know the password, or once you have a biometric authentication, it can open. That is available. Smart doorbell is already, see, some of us, we know there are doorbells where we can have a video and it can also show us who is standing outside, and that can also be automated. So by automatically, it can voice out and say, it can say, for example, hey, your grandma is waiting outside, or it can say your daddy is calling you to open the door. It can sense that. Or it can also say that some unknown person is waiting outside. We can become more cautious, because once we have trained that face photo by using algorithm, it will be able to easily segregate who is standing outside. It's not about all, we have a lot of devices which could sense that somebody is standing outside. I'm talking about something where
There is some hitch in the network, it seems.
hello.
Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah, Balaji.
power failure, sir.
Okay. Oh, yes.
UPS வந்து ட்ரபிள்ல இருக்கு. ஸோ அதனால வைஃபை எல்லாம் யூபிஎஸ்ல இருக்கு. தட்ஸ் வை நான் இப்போ ஹாட்ஸ்பாட்ல கனெக்ட் பண்ணிட்டேன்.
Okay.
சாரி சார்.
Okay, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we were talking about this smart doorbells, and next category is energy. Energy is again a very, very big challenge in the era where we are living now. So even there are a lot of proposals where we can integrate smart metering system. You all would have heard about the smart metering system. If I'm right, Pondicherry government took some initiative. They wanted to fit this kind of smart metering system into the EB meter, so that they will be able to monitor how much energy is being consumed by a house. For example, if you take a property, how much energy does that property consumes on a given period of time? And there are some suggestions where if you show them how much amount is being charged. Let's imagine that we have a display in our house. Every day it will show that how much EB bill is getting accumulated. If it happens, what will happen? Normally we get conscious and we try to avoid using the electric items unnecessarily. So energy plays a very vital role in that case, and that is what is very key here. Like that, there are a lot of energy smart metering systems are available, particularly in the West. You all are aware of how the West things they operate. They tend to record how much energy they consume on an everyday basis, and they try to store it, and they try to see like what is their billing and what is their how do they rate. There are countries where they also give complimentary reduction for people who are consuming less electricity or less energy. Okay, that is also happens. So that is the specialty of this energy. These are all with respect to non-renewable energy. Whereas when we come to renewable energy, the renewable energy sources are windmills, solar system, hydro plant systems, and so on. We can also use IoT to monitor whether how much energy is being generated in these kind of devices. And wind turbines, we could use IoT as a tool to monitor its structural health for wind monitoring systems. Or solar panels, we can check whether the batteries are working properly or how are they sparing. All such things can be done by using this IoT. Infrastructure, if you look at infrastructure, I would like to mention one important use case, that is Barcelona Smart City. If you look at Barcelona Smart City, the takeaway is, you can see here, by using smart marking system, they were able to leverage around $50 billion per annum. Leveraging smart lighting system, they were able to save around $37 billion per annum. I'm talking about smart city. I'm not talking about an individual house. So entire city. And you see the last one, smart irrigation system. By using smart irrigation system, they were able to save around $26 billion. This is the use case. This is openly available in the Google. You can also see it in YouTube. What is the specialty of Barcelona Smart City? There are a lot of smart cities available across the world. Barcelona Smart City, I am very particular because it is not New York, or it is not London, or it is not Brussels. A developing country like Spain, they were able to save a lot of amount by using this IoT incorporating into their smart city projects. So this is how IoT can be think of. I mean, you can think of using IoT there. Agriculture. So these are all some equipments which are pertaining to smart farming. You can see here, smart watering controller and clean grow carbon nanotube probes. Very simple use case. There is a project in it was carried out in IIT Kharagpur. They call it as AgriSense. You can also YouTube and see. AgriSense is the project where they try to use sensors. You have a lot of sensors for measuring the soil moisture level and soil health and so on. What they do is they measure the soil moisture level. If it goes down, then automatically the water motor will be switched on. It is a very simple application, but it proves to be very great help for farmers and the people who are really into farming. And when I talk about smart farming, I have to mention this. Israel is the pioneer in this field. If you look into the use cases by Israel, you can see how they have leveraged technology into agriculture. They are the pioneers there. They were the one who introduced this drip irrigation concept throughout the world. So like that, they also use technology to magnify their production, the farming productions, and that is also a wonderful use case which you can look out for. Health. When we talk about health, these are all some devices. You can see here, bracelets, Fitbits, smart watches, and the smart medicine dispensers at the bottom. You can see there. So what do? The old age people, they usually tend to forget to take up their medicines. So to do that, to cater to that need, what they have come up with, a smart medicine dispenser where you can mention at what time what drug should be delivered. It will automatically raise an alarm, or it will give a voice message, and it will dispense the drug. So automatically they can see. This will be useful for old age people, as well as particularly useful for people who are suffering from Alzheimer and other age alignment diseases. And you can see there smart shoes, which can also track like how many steps you have walked on a day, how many calories you have burned, all such things. These are all already into the market. I need not explain too much. But remind me, at the last, I'll show you some specific devices. Supply chain. Again, this is some case where, see, when I talk about supply chain, I always say this example. 2 lakh liters of blood gets wasted every day in India. You know the reason? Simply because we don't maintain them in the proper temperature. This is the irony what I'm talking. It's I'm very sorry, but this is the reality in which we are living. They waste around 2 lakh liters of blood every day simply because they don't maintain the correct temperature in the storage devices. So how can we cater to this? We can automatically monitor whether the temperature is maintained up to the mark or not. For example, let's say it should be maintained in 17 degrees centigrade. We can keep a sensor and we can keep track of it. Whenever it goes down, we can automatically alter it, So simple adjustments could save huge amount of blood. In other way, when we try to save the blood, we are also trying to save the human life. So it could also play a pivotal role in saving a human life. And these are all again some more examples. Some of you would have known about this Amazon Go. Amazon Go is a store where you will find no human being. You can go inside the store, you can take things, it will be automatically detected and automatically bill will be generated. It will automatically try to get credit amount from your credit card, or it will be placed to your bank account. So you should be genuine enough to pay the bill. That's all. Okay, it's unmanned. No other no human intervention is there allowed inside that. That's how it is done. So these are all some dashboards which could be thought or used for supply chain management. From sitting in a place, you can track where is the product. See, you take a simple example. We get apples from Himachal Pradesh. What is the status of apples while traveling? Are they getting contaminated or not? That could be easily tracked by using a simple sensor. That could be done by the buyer who is sitting in Chennai. He can keep track what are the places where it went through. Was it standing in a single place for a long time, or I mean, even pharmacy can be tracked by using these kind of dashboards. Pharmacy goods and items. Factory automation, it's making a huge difference in the factory automation, and this side of factory automation is also coined as IIoT, Industry Internet of Things. That is again a very big topic. You can have, if you want to do a research, you can do research in Industry Internet of Things, where you can use IoT to let's take again a simple example. Let's imagine a boiler is there, very high temperature is maintained in the boiler. Human intervention is not possible. If something goes wrong there, you can send a sensor or you can send a device. It can monitor or it can correct that and it can come back. So you can also measure whether the devices or the space is maintained properly for that particular device. And again, don't mistake me, I'm saying this again and again, structural health monitoring of mechanical devices could be very easily done by using sensor. You can fix a sensor. It can know whether your device is going to get malfunctioning in the near future or not by collecting the data. But again, please remember, IoT itself is not a magic. It can only send you the data. You have to monitor the data and you have to take the countermeasures. Okay. Transportation, I think we discussed a lot. Today, they all say that it is not an automotive industry. They say it's electronic automotive industry, because a high-class luxury car, Benz or BMW, carries around 150 plus sensors in them. So today, car is more of a sensor than a mechanical engine. So to that tune, the level of sensors deployed in the manufacturing of a car has increased. I need not to say a common car will know whether you are wearing a seat belt or not. It can also sense what is the tire pressure. It can also say whether are you exceeding the speed limit or not. All such information can also be tracked by using a normal car. You imagine a bigger luxury cars, they have huge facilities available inside. They are all completely monitored by sensors. Day-to-day objects. Smart fridge that orders food for you. For example, a smart fridge, Samsung has already come up with this theme. What your refrigerator will do is, it will list down the items available in the refrigerator. It can also give you suggestions for what menu you can make today. For example, if your refrigerator holds onion and egg, it can give you a suggestion that you can make omelette today. For example, I'm saying. or if it has tomato and something else, it can say you can try for a tomato chutney today. So that menu recommendations can be done by refrigerator. More than that, above that, refrigerator, once it senses that the number of eggs in the egg tray is going below the expected level, it can automatically order for a egg. I'll show you a small picture, small video, if I'll check whether it is available. So there you can see it's all being realized. Cooker that shows cooker recipes, transparent smart window. You can also use, in place of screen, the windows can be converted, glass windows can be converted into screens in the near future. And if I'm right, one of our Indian inventor has patented that. So those things are also on the cards. Benefits of IoT. Why we go for a IoT? It gives us efficient resource utilization. It minimizes the human effort. Obviously, it minimizes the human effort. When we talk about a physical system, it is always easier for us to incorporate algorithms in the digitized one. Development of AI. Yes, AI could be feeded and it could increase by using IoT. The features, it can connect, analyze, and integrate. That is what I have been saying it for again and again. You have to connect, you have to analyze, and then you have to integrate. Okay, so far we saw basically what is IoT, how it is used in different places, and so on. Now I'm bit going streamlined to a IoT hardware. What is an IoT hardware? Sensors. You know, sensors are the basic for any IoT. So what is the role of a sensor? It measures value, it sends raw data, it operates in low power, it also requires very, very little processing power. Types. There are two types of sensors available in the market. One is analog, you can see, and another one is digital. So analog is the one which actually gives you in DC voltage. The output will be in the DC voltage, whereas AC voltage sensors are very rare. They are very rarely used. Digital sensors are the one which will be easier for us, because once you collect the data in the digital format, it is easier for us to interpret. Okay, if you ask me how to handle analog sensors, you have to use a ADC. You have to use a ADC. After collecting the data, you have to convert that into digital. From there, you can bring it to a system from where you can do all the processing work. Some common example. Pressure sensor will know how much pressure is being given to a particular place. For example, pressure sensor can be used in smart dustbins, or it can also be used to sense, like let's imagine some 2,000-seater auditorium is available. You want to know how many seats are occupied. You can very easily fit a pressure sensor in the chair. It will say, like, wherever the pressure is being applied, that will be turned on, so you can easily know how many people are sitting in the auditorium. Ultrasonic distance sensor, it can be used in incorporating. This is already being done. You can think of using it in integrating it with the blind people stick, so that it can also warn them if a nearby object is, if they are approaching a object in nearby. Tilt sensor will sense how far you are tilting a particular object. Are you hiding or are you sitting front? All such things. Infrared motion sensors, and 1 minute. Analog temperature, camera sensor. See, in a sensor world, everything is called a sensor. So don't ask me how are you tagging camera as a sensor. It is called as a camera sensor. What are the gateways? Okay, sensor will sense the information. How will it send to the end device? So here where the gateways comes into picture. The usual gateways are, you can see here, this is one gateway through which we can send the data. And what are the protocols? So my intention is not to talk about protocols here, but anyhow, I'll say what are the protocols available. Again, in IoT, you can separate the protocols into different layers. Physical layer, it still deals with the traditional networking protocols, what we use, ZigBee and so on. But when you talk about MAC layer, 6LoWPAN plays a very vital role in the MAC layer. And when you talk about network layer, 6LoWPAN is a special protocol which has role both in MAC layer as well as in the network layer. Dedicated network layer protocol is RPL, routing protocol. We call it as an RPL, low power and low energy routing protocol. So for convention, they call it as a RPL. So RPL. And Application layer protocol, CoAP is an application layer protocol, MQTT is an application layer, XMPP, HTTP. These are all application layer protocols. So protocols again, my area of research falls in IoT protocol. I have done some kind of research in IoT protocols, but again, protocol is altogether a different topic. I have given you some names. If you are interested, you can explore. A lot of protocols are there. These are all the important protocols which play a vital role in different layers. Connectivity, as I said, Wi-Fi could be used for connectivity. Bluetooth still can be used to connect. Zigbee, Thread is another important mechanism which could be considered for connecting the devices. I think you can picturize like what I'm trying to say now. Sensor is placed. That sensor will be placed in the microcontroller board. From that board, the data collected by the sensor will be communicated either through Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Zigbee, or Thread. It will reach one centralized server or centralized system. There we will process them. This is the typical ecosystem of an IoT. You use it for healthcare, you use it for environmental monitoring, or you use it for temperature monitoring. This skeleton remains same. Fix a sensor collects the data, and that it communicates it to the centralized device. That device, we call it as a fog or edge computing. That's where edge or fog comes. I'll say that. Otherwise, we push it to the cloud, and from the cloud, we can process either it in the cloud or we can bring it to the local server, and we can also process that. That is what I was talking about. Now you can connect like what is the role of a cloud here? We use this, whatever data you collect, that will be sent to the cloud, and cloud is the place where the data repository is maintained, and the processing of data further takes place from the data available in the cloud. Yes, fog computing. See, fog and edge is an interchangeable word. People think that fog is different, edge is different. Practically speaking, this is my perspective. You may differ with me, but fog is the word which was coined by Cisco. Edge is the word which was coined by Intel. That is the difference. Okay, what is this fog or edge, sir? There are vendors who may be still skeptical about allowing their sensitive data to be placed in the cloud. So to overcome that, what they do is they can store the data locally. Only, see, for example, let's imagine I am monitoring a very critical patient. If I send my data to cloud, from the cloud, it has to intimate the doctor. Will it not take a delay, or will it not consume a time? The bandwidth and delay will be huge because I'm collecting the data, pushing it to the cloud, and from the cloud it is communicated to the person's mobile phone, and from that he has to take an action. To avoid that, what happens if I have a local server in the hospital itself? So the criticality, depending on the criticality of the patient, I can decide that this data should immediately go to the local server so that it can reach the doctor so fast. You all know the value of time with respect to human life. So I'm saying you a very, very simple example. Like this, you can use fog and edge interchangeably so as to please the customer or to take quick decisions and so on. Have I made it clear? Any doubts here? Fog, edge. Any doubts? If no doubts, I'll proceed. Okay. See, the emergence of IoT, we should credit the emergence of IoT to open source hardware. The open source hardware was the one which made this IoT reality today. When I talk about open source hardware, I'm talking about boards like Arduino, Raspberry Pi, BeagleBone, Galileo, Intel Edge, so on. So these are all the boards which made open source. The hardware was made as open source. As I said, Arduino board is a very, very simple example which can be considered as an example of open source. You can buy this board, you can connect, and you can collect data by placing the sensor in it. Any sensor can be integrated to it. Arduino Ethernet, this is again available along with the Ethernet. Raspberry Pi is kind of, it is a mini computer. You can call it as a mini computer. It runs, you can run Linux OS on it. Specific Raspberry Pi license is there. And you can if you attach a display device to this Raspberry Pi, it will function more like a mini computer. You can attach a monitor and a keyboard. You can still run all your programs. Linux shell scripting can be done by using Raspberry Pi. These are all some differences between Raspberry Pi and Arduino. You can see Arduino is more of a single board microcontroller. Sketch is the language which we use to interact with Arduino. And operating system, there is no operating system, whereas in Raspberry Pi, it has a Linux operating system. The processing speed is high. The IO current drive is very compatible. RAM capacity is very high in Raspberry Pi. If you see, it's 2 KB in Arduino, it's 1 GB in Raspberry Pi, and so on. These are all furthermore different varieties of it. Now I think Raspberry Pi fourth version has come. Arduino, you can see it you can see it along with Uno board, Mega board, LilyPad, and Bluetooth. Sensors compatible. You can see ChipKit is again a very good board, Digiland board, and MSP. Texas Instrument has come up with the MSP 430. That is also a board which could be considered. And these are all STM30. You can see here they are capable of storing 128 KB RAM. Particle is the board which is Wi-Fi integrated. It's an ARM-based board. It is Wi-Fi integrated. And Espruino, you can see there. Espruino is the board which is capable of handling or running a JavaScript code. You can run a JavaScript code by using this Espruino board. Raspberry Pi, again I said, Intel Galileo is the board where you can handle, it will be more of advanced board where it can handle analog sensors as well as you can see the memory capacity. Intel Edison, you can note down this. Intel Edison is a wonderful board which is almost capable of handling a kind of a, it can handle Bluetooth, and this is the board which is normally used in place in IoT enabled mobile phones. And Parallella, BeagleBone is also a commonest board which will be available. And you can see here Parallella is capable of handling FPGA. FPGA capability is integrated into Parallella. Jetson board, NVIDIA, you all would have heard about NVIDIA GPU. NVIDIA also has a board which is capable of handling or imitating the GPU capability. Jetson boards are there. I have ordered for one board. Soon we will get it. So Jetson boards, they come around 10,000 to 12,000. So if you are using a very data intensive project for IoT, you can always go for Jetson board. NVIDIA comes up with a Jetson board. And these are all some prototyping softwares. So Arduino, Sketch, I said you. Velodyne is more like a VB kind of environment where you can pick and post your devices. It will exhibit the characteristics of the device. It's a proprietary one. Velodyne is developed by a Spanish university. Eclipse, again, Eclipse and Vim can be, virtual environment can be used for programming in IoT. Embed Online is a special one which could be considered for, it will be more like, it will be supporting your scripting part, and Intel XDK library also supports your IoT programming. The data acquisition and analysis, you can see. Xively is again a web portal or a kind of a cloud intermediate where you can deposit all your data and it will arrange and you can rearrange them in a certain format. Similarly, Microsoft Azure has come up with the tailor-made, they have come up with the beautiful solutions. If you want to use healthcare, dedicated Azure is there for healthcare. So you can use that Azure. NetSim is a simulation software which can be used for analyzing the depth, power, and flexibility. NetSim is a proprietary one, and you can see it is basically net simulator. It can be used for simulating, and it supports particular protocols of IoT. It does not support all protocols. It supports web layer protocols. CupCarbon is a Java-based wireless sensor network. When I say sensor network, obviously it could be used for leveraging the IoT network also. It is a smart city and Internet of Things wireless sensor network. It is based on Java. Actually, it is based on Java. You can test almost all your wireless protocols, particularly wireless and wireless sensor protocols. With respect to IoT, you cannot as such test all your IoT protocols, but the sensor characteristics can be used and checked by using CupCarbon. SimpleSoft is again a IoT simulator. It is a very, very easy simulator, but again, it is also a proprietary one. SimpleSoft it supports CoAP, MQTT, and HTTP. It is a web layer, more of a web layer protocol. I mean, web layer protocol simulator. ANSYS is not a simulator, but what they do is they allow you to imitate, they allow you to emulate things. For example, you want to design an IoT for a particular application. How will it look like? That can be designed and modeled by using ANSYS software. Contiki OS, this is the one which I use personally. Contiki OS Kuja simulator. Kuja simulator is an open source one, and Kuja supports all your routing protocol. Most of your routing protocol like 6LoWPAN, RPL, all of them are supported by using this Kuja simulator. It is a free and you can easily download. And the specialty here is they have a provisions for Sky modes, and they also have a provision for TCP, UDP protocol. Everything you can set and you can run them. You can run them, and you can also run it in Windows based system. You need a interface, but Kuja simulator is the open source I have attached, and you can also check. I have published papers by using this Kuja simulators. We have simulated a lot of RPL. We particularly simulated RPL protocol by using this Contiki OS Kuja simulator. Octave is again another MATLAB equivalent tool. If you look at the Western universities, they mostly use Octave in place of MATLAB. What you can do here is you can use IoT server. The data collected from the IoT server can be directly deposited into the Octave, and you can tailor-made the code so as to categorize your data as per your requirement. For example, I want to know if there is a rise in the temperature of a room. You can write the code in the Octave. Once the data get deposited in the Octave, automatically the code get triggered and it will intimate you if it exceeds the temperature. This is IoT server. IoT server is again, you can register and you can use it, but it is timeline based. Amazon IoT tutorial with Linkit One. So this is the Linkit One where you can connect your IoT device directly to the cloud. Watson of Things, you know, from the name you can understand it is an IBM product. You can directly store your data into Watson, and Watson will take care of further analysis, and it will give you a complete map of how your data is mapped for a particular objective. Google is also coming up, they are in the beta version, they are also coming up with the Brillo OS. This OS will be dedicated towards IoT applications. They have finished their alpha test, beta test, and they are yet to hit the market. This, once it comes up, it will be completely oriented towards the IoT devices. And these are all further softwares and consortiums. I'm not explaining everything. I'll leave it to you. You can go through. These are all OS. These are all the mesh networks. And the most profound technologies are those that disappear. They weave themselves into the fabric of everyday life until they are indistinguishable from it. The takeaway is technology is known to be successful only if it gets immersed in our life. We should not think that we are using a technology like our mobile phone, like our internet. We never think that we are using an internet. We always think that we are checking our WhatsApp. That's all. If you get that feel, then IoT will be a successful one. What is the learning path? You can take this learning path, IoT technology and applications, or you can get into the area of sensor, actuators, and signal processing. Hardware architecture is one area. Software and programming, communication and networking, data management. These are all different streams of IoT. If you really want to research something, you can choose any one area. You can drill deep. This is the IoT landscape. You can see here industry, connected home, lifestyle, the quantified self, and what else? Building blocks and industrial internet, platforms, everything is listed here. You can go through this. These are all few startups. These are all the few startups which have prospered in India after 2010. A lot of startups have been also, I have not added all such things. These are all notable startups which have made their presence felt after 2010. Okay, so far so good. Are we not having any challenges in the IoT? Yes, we have challenges. Energy efficiency. Most of the items what we discussed today are battery powered. So once they are battery powered, then energy becomes a huge challenge. Connectivity also play a very, very critical role. So the connectivity also has still some challenges which we need to overcome. Integration and simplicity, that's what I said. Even today, if I want to implement IoT project, I have to integrate 2 or 3 devices, or I have to integrate 2 or 3 technologies. That's seen in one way it's good, in other way I have to be I have to have awareness among different technologies. That is seen as a drawback. Security and privacy, again, since our data is going to, whenever our data is going to get into digital, it's going to pose a threat for our security and privacy. These are all the summary. These are all conclusions. Questions? Do you have any questions now? Any questions?
It's Balaji, in the chat window they have posted some other.
Yeah, I'm looking into the chat window, sir. Okay, what is the price range of IoT sensor? It all depends on what kind of sensor. See, even today I spoke about sensor. The huge challenge with sensor is till today we have not got IP-based sensors available in the market. Though there are few sites in the West, particularly in the US, they claim that they have come up with the IP-based sensor. Still, it is a huge challenge. I may get data from 10 sensor. How will I be able to differentiate from which sensor I have got this data? So that's where still there are some challenges which we need to overcome. When we talk about sensor, a temperature sensor in the market will cost you around 100 rupees. That's all. And there are sensors which are available for 9 to 10 rupees. Even Amazon started selling sensors. So it all depends. What kind of sensor are you going to look out for? For speech related applications, see, voice recognition sensors are there. And for your information, there is a bank, French-based bank available in Bangalore. What they have done is they record your voice, and every month to perform any transaction, you need not to open the app and you need not to say anything. You open the app, you can do entire banking transaction by your voice. For example, if I want to remit 1,000 rupees to, for example, I want to transfer my rent to my house owner. I can open the app, I can say transfer 10,000 to my house owner. For say my house owner name is Ram. Transfer 10,000 to Ram. It will ask, do you confirm the transaction? I should say yes, I confirm the transaction. That's all. The transaction will be done. So to that extent, voice sensors are available in the market. Okay, research resources. Okay, I can share my resources, whatever I have. And I suggest you, no, you have to choose what area are you going to focus in IoT. Are you going to focus in network layer? Or are you going to focus in MAC layer? Or are you going to focus in physical layer? For example, electrical background candidates can focus on physical layer. Electronics background candidates can focus on MAC layer. And CSE IT candidates can focus on network, from network to web layer. That is application layer. That is the area where we can focus on. This is with respect to that layered architecture of IoT. If you are specific to an application, you can focus on hardware side or architecture side, framework, and even there is one more area, standardization of IoT. See, now we say whatever data we collect from sensor, we rely on it. What is the standardization? Is the data right or wrong? So a lot of, see, our government is into it. You know, we have also given some feedback. So our government is coming up with the standard policies for IoT usage. Particularly, they will release those documents before the emergence of smart cities. So when we are talking about smart cities, again, I'll share one more interesting fact. Particularly me and my team, we were collaborating with Ericsson. With Ericsson, we visited a village called Muri village in Andhra Pradesh. I'm saying this is during the days of Chandrababu Naidu. We visited there, and we were the technology partner for Ericsson. We used around 17 sensors to monitor the Krishna river water purity. We used that sensor, and using that sensor, we tend to monitor the pollution level of the water, and that will be updated to the local authority. So this we did in collaboration with Ericsson. to my surprise, that Muri village, you can also Google and see Muri village. Muri village is called as a smart village. Leave out smart city. Smart village is in place. Players like Google, University of California, Yahoo, Motorola, Ericsson, they are all there. They have contributed making the village smarter. Okay. So these are all the use cases which are already available in the web. Any other questions?
Yeah, Balaji, you said that you will show some of the...
The smart healthcare, sir.
Yeah.
1 minute, sir. Yeah, this I'm not going to talk brief. I'll at least show you. 1 minute. So this is IoT in healthcare. You can see these are all some facts. So they are talking about preventive mechanism. Now what we have is reactive mechanism. They are talking about preventive mechanism. So, okay, I'll straight away go to the place. Yes. This we have seen. Practo app is there already in place where we can call the doctor to our house, but still yet to emerge. Nano Nose is one project where from your breath, they are able to sense around 27 diseases. And these are all some IoT specific medical devices. App Store, around 20,000 to 40,000 apps are specifically available for healthcare related applications. These are all some, again, we have seen this also, Fitbit and so on. This is a device which could sense your sleeping pattern. Very dedicatedly, it will sense sleeping pattern. Month-wise, it will consolidate and it will give you the report. This is, they say, Google's project ARA. ARA is the project of Google where Sensors 3.0 is going to come. Your mobile phone will be able to track your body pressure, body pulse, heartbeat rate, and so on. And it will also convey the information to your physical or physician or a medical doctor. Gobi is a device which is used to track how much amount you take inside. When you scan a food item through this app, it will say you how much calorie are you consuming. 2Fit is a device which will give you an alert whenever you fall short of taking some water. It is advised that per day you should drink some 3 to 4 liters of water. If you fall short, it will automatically intimate how much water, at what time you should drink water. It will give you the alert. This is a smart diaper. Whenever a baby, whenever the baby wets it, whenever the baby goes for PP, it will be automatically intimated to you. So that baby need not to stay in a wet diaper for a longer time. This is epidermical electronics. This is what they call insideable sensors. They will place the sensor inside your body so that it can track physiological data and it can still convey to your physician. The second one is a VR. By using VR, they are able to map how your mind processes, how your thinking process is there. And if you are mentally disturbed, it could be sensed by using these VR devices. And this is again a wearable for Google now. They have withdrawn it, but Google now is collaborated with some devices. And again, OnStar. OnStar is vehicle diagnostics. This is the device which could completely monitor your vehicle health. Future Mirror. This is again a very interesting one. Let's imagine somebody is smoking for 5 years. If they go and say that, how will I look like if I continuously smoke for 5 years? It will show the picture, right? Through this, you can create awareness among the people who are addicted to this alcohol and smoking habit. This emotive is again which could be used to sense your EEG signal, and through that you can use it for making a lot of decisions. The last one, they say implantable device to treat traumatic brain injury. This is again in research. What they say is we can insert some devices inside your brain to make it work properly. diagnosis. These are all the devices which could be used for diagnosis of healthcare applications. ECG screening device. It is available in the mobile size. It is actual devices available in the mobile size. You can see these are all the dashboard. That device will give you all these informations. And this app will say neurological disorder, virtual cardiac echo. Now this could be used for virtual echo reading. Predictalytics is the dashboard. For example, if Balaji, I'm Balaji, for Balaji, they will create a health map, and every week they will give me feedback. This week, how did I do to keep my health safe? Those things can be done. And this mere device will give you, this small device is capable of recording your heart rate, your SpO2, respiratory rate, blood pressure, ECG, emotional stress, whatnot. It can record all those things. It is a product of a Qualcomm tricoder. And these are all apps which could be used for Alzheimer indication. Therapy, how could you use that? Telemedicine. And these are all future ultrasonic sound, women fibroids, finding out women fibroids. And they say psychiatrist will be replaced by AI based chatbots, or IBM Watson is working on it. And personalized oncology, you need not to depend on a generalized treatment. Personalized oncology is also advocated. Focused drug, and this is what I was talking about. Rather than giving a common drug for everyone, for headache, for all of us, headache medicine seems to be same, but the headache is different. Some of you will have in the forehead front, some of us will have it in the backside, some will have in the sideways. How to treat them specifically, that can be done. Implantable remote control, birth control can be done by using implantable thing. These are all 3D printer, how 3D printing can help in creating a artificial body, human bots. And Google Lens, Google Glass can be used for virtually looking at the monitoring a surgery. If a senior doctor is outside the place, he can still look or monitor how a surgery is being done. And this is, this is what we say. 3D could be used for creating the human bioeconomics. And this again is picking up, personal genome project, where human data, we can become a data donor. The days are gone where we have become a blood donor and organ donor. Today, there is an area which is picking up where you can donate your data for the betterment of the society. And Maternet is a drug delivery drones which are specifically designed, used by Amazon. MIT, startup by MIT is using this. And these are all some associated devices you can see here. So that's it. These are all some IoT, how IoT plays a role in healthcare devices and so on. Okay, can you specify the advantage of fog over cloud usage in IoT? That's what I said. Whenever you want to take decisions fast, because the cloud storage will consume more latency and bandwidth. To avoid that, you can rely on this fog or edge computing. That is the answer, madam. Any other questions?